Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. 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 Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai.
माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्च अर्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषां धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेदि तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिम् आनतोऽस्मि यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितितिर्षतां तमोन्धम् संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. Morning, in the evening satsangam, we saw the beginning of Tritiya Skandha, where we told first was Suta telling Bhagavatam to the sages in Naimisharanya. Then comes Shukacharya, sage Sri Shuka telling Bhagavatam to Parikshit. And inside that, now in the third canto, we had a conversation between Vidura and Uddhava. Then Vidura and Maitreya, Vidura Maitreya Samvada. That is the Tritiya Skandha. So here conversation teacher is Maitreya Maharshi, Mitra Sutaha. And the listener, disciple is Vidura. So we saw Vidura asking Maitreya, about of course the question is same, how to attain Bhagavan, how to attain bhakti. The only purpose of life. And The Ashcharya, the wondrous phenomenon seen in world is people want happiness. For that they work day and night. But we don't see anyone telling that they are perfectly happy. If you ask somebody in world, how are you? Westerners, English education has taught us to ask a question, how are you? And the answer will be fine. That is ready-made. But there is no real joy, real happiness. Happening. Say in Hindi, chalta hai. Charati. You don't know where it goes. Something comes, something goes, daily the same. Jivitakshayam. So, seeing this phenomenon, Vidura came to the conclusion that we should not waste life in worldly pursuits. We can never, one thing is certain, that you can never convince the worldly people either about dharma or about jnanam. Once Swami Ramatirtha was lying on the bank of a river, and one modern upstart went near him and asked the Swami, why are you wasting your life? Why don't you go to world and do some good? Some good. Then Swami Ramatirtha said, my dear friend, is not that business already overcrowded? Why not leave Rama to be alone, immersed in the bliss of Atma? So that business is already overcrowded. Everybody is doing good, but we don't know what is good. We want to do good, but we don't know what is good. A person comes to our house and we say, I love you very much, take payasam. And he says, I have diabetes, don't put payasam to me. He says, I am giving you with love, take some more. It's killing with love. So, real love, that is what we said, hitam and priyam. Hitam means, even if he asks, you should not give. That is true love. But we don't know what love is. We don't know what doing good is. But we do go on doing good. So Vidura says, this is what I am seeing in the world, but they have never found what is true happiness. Only when you seek the highest, life will become blessed. Dhanyam, dhanyam, tridhanyam, bhavabhaya shamanam hi aishwaram darshanam yat. It's a beautiful shloka. Dhanyam, dhanyam, tridhanyam, bhavabhaya shamanam hi aishwaram darshanam yat. Ishvara darshanam is dhanyam, dhanyam, dhanyam. Blessed, blessed, blessed. When a person decides, takes a firm resolve, from now onwards I have only one goal, that is to attain that God experience. This resolve Bhagavan calls in Bhagavad Gita as Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekeha Kurunandana. One-pointed Nishayatmika Buddhi. Otherwise, for a worldly person, Bahu Shakahi Anantasya Buddhayo Avyavasayinam. He is not resolved. So his mind is various branched, various directions it goes, various goals, various desires, various means employed. all scattered, split. So here, Vidura asks Maitreya Maharshi, and Maitreya Maharshi speaks about Bhagavat Katha. Many stories about creation is also told. I am not going into all those things. Rudra is created, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara. They are the source for Nivritti Marga. They were all created. Shankaracharya even in Gita Bhashya says, first Bhagavan created Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara, and through them this Nivritti Marga came to the world. And all the Prajapatis were created, through them this Pravritti Marga came to the world. Dvividhohi Vedokto Dharmaha Pravritti Lakshano Nivritti Lakshanascha Jagataha Sthiti Karanam. That Veda Prokta Dharma is Pravritti Dharma and Nivritti Dharma. So all those things were expounded. And then comes the story of many Prajapatis, and one Prajapati is called Kardama Prajapati. They are not human beings, but when you listen to the story, it looks like they are human beings. You can neither say that they are human beings, nor can you say that they are divine beings, but they are in between. They are certainly more divine than more human. But a little amount of rajas is there, hence they became ready to create, to follow the Pravritti Lakshana Dharma. Brahma said, you should create children, creation should expand. So Kardama Prajapati went for tapas, and he had the vision of Bhagavan, and he asked Bhagavan, I want only you, I want only bhakti. But Brahma has told me to create. So you should bless me, what should I do? Then Bhagavan said, Ishvara himself will be born as your son, as Kapila Vasudeva. And through him this Sankhya Darshana will come to the world. So certainly you have to become a Grihastha. And you will get a companion, a wife, and she will be equally divine. Thus blessed by Bhagavan, Kardama Prajapati returned, and the clue was also given. Manu, the first king of the world, from him Manushya came, man also came. Manu and Shatarupa. This I told you in the very beginning that Prajapatis, they are not normal human beings. They are all some higher form of creation. But Manu and Shatarupa, they are perfectly human. Brahma's body split into two as man and woman. Kasya Rupam Dvidha Abhut. It became two, as man and woman. Then creation naturally expands. And Manu and Shatarupa had a daughter, her name was Devahuti. This name comes many times in Veda in a different context. And meaning is given to that name. She invokes Bhagavan to be born as her son. So Devam Hwayatiti Devahutihi. So that Devahuti was Manu's daughter, and Manu brings her to Kardama Prajapati and requests him to accept her as his wife. Kardama Prajapati said, yes, Bhagavan has already instructed me to marry her. I will marry her. And they had a marriage. And they both lived like Shiva and Parvati. She served her Pati, her divine husband, as Parvati served Parameshwara. Bhavaniva Paryacharat Pritya Bhavaniva Bhavam Prabhum. With love she served Kardama Prajapati as Parvati served, Umadevi served Mahadeva. Like that was their mutual life. Paraspara tapas sampat phalayita parasparau. About Parvati Parameshwara there is a shloka which says, Shiva did tapas to get Parvati and Parvati did tapas to get Shiva. Shiva's tapas became fruitful in Parvati's manifestation and Parvati's tapas became fruitful in Shiva's manifestation. When we go upwards towards Devaprayag, towards Badri, there is a confluence where they call it the Ganga as Virahi Ganga. In that place, Mahadeva did severe tapas to make Parvati come to him. Kalidasa says in his Kumara Sambhavam, Tatra Agnimadaya Samit Samidhe Swameva Murtyantaramashtamurtihi Swayam Vidhata Tapasah Phalanam Kenapi Kamena Tapaschachara. Very beautiful verse. Kenapi Kamena Tapaschachara. We don't know, by some hidden desire he did tapas. And there Aparna came. Bhagavati came as Aparna. She also did tapas to attain Shiva. Like that, Kardama Prajapati and Devahuti had a life. So many years they lived without any thought about body. There is an incident in Vedanta Parampara. Brahma Sutra Bhashya is there, Shankaracharya's. And that Bhashya has two schools. One is Vivaranam school, the other is Bhamati school. And that Bhamati Parampara comes from Vachaspati Mishra. And this Vachaspati Mishra was a great scholar. Shaddarshanas are known to him. So he was going on writing, living in his own world. His wife's name was Bhamati. Perhaps some exaggerated version of the story. What the story is said is, every day he will write and the lamp will be burning in his room. One day the wick little bit became more burnt and the flame went down. Then he saw a lady coming near him, old lady, and putting it right. Then he asked, "Who are you?" Vachaspati Mishra asked her, "Who are you?" And she said, "I am your wife." Such a sorry situation. Then he said, "I will make your name eternal. I will make your name known to all noble people because you have served me like this all your life." Then he named his Brahma Sutra Bhashya Tika written by him, Bhamati. That was named as Bhamati. And he is known more not as Vachaspati Mishra but as Bhamatikara. So Bhamati is his wife's name. So such kind of renunciation, sacrifice was there in many family people also. And in that kind of life, Kardama Prajapati and Devahuti, suddenly Kardama Prajapati felt that he should bless Devahuti, give her all the happiness that a family woman needs. And with his yogic power, he gave her all kind of luxuries, comforts, everything needed. And they had all joys of life. And they had many daughters. 9 daughters they had. And all those daughters were married to rishis. Atri, Marichi, Vasishta, all of them got married. Then again Kardama Prajapati became a Virakta. One day Devahuti went to Kardama Prajapati and said, Bhagavan, I am an ignorant woman. I know that attachment to world creates bondage. But when the same attachment is towards Mahapurushas, towards Mahatmas, our attachment to the world goes away. Sango yas samsriter hetuhu. Very beautiful verse. Sangha is cause for samsriti. Attachment is there, it will lead you to samsara, to bondage, to suffering. But the same attachment, if you keep with saints, you will be freed from bondage, from samsara. Sango yas samsriter hetuhu asatsu vihitaha adhiya sayeva sadhushu kritaha nissangatvaya kalpate. You become nissanga. Bhagavata constantly tells that the easiest way to attain bhakti, jnanam, vairagyam is satsanga. Satsangatve nissangatvam, nissangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nishalatatvam, nishalatatve jivan muktihi. So here she said, I have contact with you, I am serving you, yet I have still my vasanas, my desires in my mind. What should I do? Then Kardama Prajapati said, you worship Narayana. He will be born as your son. Don't have any guilt in your mind. Bhagavan has kept us in samsara so that he can come here, incarnate as Kapila Vasudeva. And Devahuti worshipped Narayana. And then Kapila Bhagavan manifested as their son. Even when he was in the Garbha, all the Devas showered flower. And they all said that Jnana Kala Avatara is going to happen. And thus he grew up as a great sage. Then his father, Kardama Prajapati, he didn't feel that Kapila is his son. He felt Sakshat Bhagavan has come. And he did a Ashtanga Namaskara, a Pradakshana Namaskara. Tvam Suribhistatva Bhubutsayadham Sadabhivadarhana Padapitham Aishwarya Vairagya Yashovabodha Viryashriya Purtamaham Prapadye. I surrender to you, Lord. Vairagya Yasho Avabodha Virya Shriya Purtamaham Prapadye. You have all the gunas that Bhagavan needs. Aishwarya, Vairagya, Yashas, Jnanam, everything is there in you. But I have taken a resolve that when you have grown up, I will leave this world, this Grihastha Dharma. Now give me permission that I will take to the path of Parivrajya. Just moving about as an Avadhuta. Then Kapila Bhagavan said, yes, I give you permission. Now give up all the outer karma. Make your mind introverted, make it meditate in the inner Jyoti. Take to Maunam. I am within you as the Swayam Prakasha Vastu. Mam Atmanam Swayam Jyotihi Sarvabhuta Guhashayam. Atmani eva Atmana Vikshi Vishokaha Abhayam Richasi. See, Bhagavatam, wherever you take a verse, it can become a Upadesha. Some story is there, some story background is given, but within that you will find a perfect Upadesha. Here Kapila Bhagavan is giving that Upadesha to his father. I am within you as your own Atma, your own self, Swayam Jyoti. It is self-effulgent Swayam Prakasha. And not only inside you, Sarva Bhuta Guhashayam, in the heart of all. Now abide in yourself and remove all shoka. Shoka comes if you think about the other. Shoka comes, suffering comes, grief comes. If you are attached to people, events, emotions, ideals, everything creates suffering, misery. So leave everything, then you will become fearless. Abhayam richati. Then Kardama looked at his wife, because he is going to leave her. Then Kapila Bhagavan said, don't fear, father. I will give her support. And what is the support? It is Atma Jnanam. A son can tell, I will look after mother or father. But if he dies, there are many cases where the son or daughter could not look after father because before them they passed away. What to do? So the perfect help that can be given is to make them stand on their own feet. And that can happen only by jnanam. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi taught his mother, Ayagammal. He slowly trained, disciplined her to give up her attachment to world, attachment to everything outside. Because she renounced the world and came to him. But formerly, she had the feeling that he is my son. Of course, it is natural, but he is not her son. The moment one has attained jnanam, all his embodied relationship, bodily relationship is gone. But relatives generally, they will not understand. They will look at the person as they were seeing him formerly. With the same sight only they will behave. So mother also was behaving like that. Then Maharshi was totally ignoring her. Not at all looking at her. Slowly, slowly by the Sannidhi, she understood the glory of her son, and she never felt that, so she after that she never felt that he is her son, started seeing her guru there. She had lot of acharam. She will cook her own food, and if someone comes and touches that, she will go and take bath, then again she will come and cook. So all these acharams were there. And when she grew old, she could not take bath many times. So she asked Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni, what should I do? Ganapati Muni said, whenever you feel you are polluted, go and touch Bhagavan. So one day she will do it many times. Because this ajnana will be there. Somebody touched. Some pollution has happened. And she will go and touch. One day, some village people came to the hill. They were there to cut grass. And terrible heat there. Like here, there also it is terrible heat in the hill. And they will come to Skandashram to get water, and Maharshi will give them water or some kanji, some porridge. He will keep it there to serve them. So few women, they came. They said, Swami, we are feeling so hungry. Give us some food. Then he said to Kunju Swami, ask mother to bring her food here. Because they have not procured, their bhiksha has not arrived by that time. But Amma would have cooked, ask her to bring her food. Then Kunju Swami himself knew that she will, if she gives the food to them, she will again take bath and again cook. Bhagavan said, ask her to come. Then his mother came, said, give the food that you have cooked to these ladies. And mother said, see, I have not taken my food. You know who are they? Just look at them. They are all Arunachala Swarupa. They are all forms of God. One word from him, she literally saw Arunachala there, Bhagavan there, Ishvara there. She went inside, brought all her food and served them. After that, that ajara fell down. She was freed of that ajara. That bondage was removed. Thus, one by one, he prepared her and gave her teaching in various songs. And trained her to receive the highest wisdom. And at last, Maharshi's mother, it is very well known that she dropped her body in samadhi. Such things have happened with many Mahatmas. Here, Devahuti, about Devahuti, Kapila Bhagavan says, I will give her Atma Vidya, Matra Adhyatmigim Vidyam, Shamanim Sarvakarmanam, Vitarishye Yayachasau Bhayam Cha Atitarishyati. Bhayam Atitarishyati. What confirmation? Bhagavan says, if you get this Atma Vidya, what is the labha, profit? All fear will be removed. No more fear. Abhayam. If you have this Vidya with you, a jnani is known by one sign, that is fearlessness. If fear is there, jnana is not steady. If jnana is steady, no more fear there, abhayam. So I will give her this knowledge and I will see to it that she crosses the border of fear. She goes beyond fear. Don't think about her. Now go. If such a son is there, it is easy for the father. So that father, he took maunam. No more duty in the world. Vratam sa asthito maunam. He took mauna vratam and did Sharanagati. Sharanagati to whom? To the Atma. Atmaika Sharano Munihi. He took surrender. He surrendered to the inner self. Nissango Vyacharat Shonim. Bhagavata pictures many Paramahamsas here, there, everywhere. That is why if we go through Bhagavata, we will have episodes after episodes where we will meet some great Jivan Mukta, some great Mahapurusha. So when we do Parayanam of Bhagavatam, it is a darshanam of so many sages. Vyasa has implanted them in their Ativahika Sharira. They are all there in Bhagavatam. So when you read Bhagavatam, you directly meet Kardama Prajapati, you directly meet Kapila Bhagavan, you directly meet Rishabhadeva, Jadabharata, everyone. So here you see, he gave up everything, he became Nissanga. Anagnihi Aniketanaha, all these days he was doing Agni Karyam. He was a Agni Hotri. Ahavani Agni, Tretagni. Garhapatyagni, Dakshinagni, all these three Agnis were there with him. Now Anagnihi, no Agni. Aniketanaha, no house also. No place to stay. Just wandering about. Mano Brahmani Yunjanaham. His mind was established in Brahman and just wandered about, seeing everything as Vasudeva, seeing everything, everyone as Bhagavan. Atmanam sarvabhuteshu bhagavantam adhokshajam apashyat sarvabhutani bhagavatyapicha atmani ichha dvesha vihinena sarvatra samachetasa bhagavat bhakti yuktena prapta bhagavati gatihi. With that Bhagavat bhakti, beholding Bhagavan everywhere, he attained that supreme state of a Bhagavata. Once Kardama Prajapati was gone, Devahuti saw only darkness everywhere. She was holding to her husband. Now he is no more there. Now to whom will she go? She saw her son sitting near the Bindusaras, and he was not engaged in any rituals like Kardama Prajapati. He was sitting without doing anything, still, quiet. Tamasinam akarmanam tattvamargagradarshanam swasutam devahutyaha dhatuhu samsmarati vachaha. That great yogi immersed in samadhi was sitting there. This mother went there and said, "Oh Bhagavan, please instruct me, what should I do now? Vairagya has come to me." Nirveda. Nirvinnanitaram bhuman asadindriya darshanat ena sambhavyamanena prapanna andham tamah prabho. Due to constant indulgence in sensuous life, what happens? The mind becomes darker and darker and darker, gloomy and more gloomy and dull, insensitive to all higher things. That is what one gains by such life. So here she says, now I have attained Vairagya. This Trisha, desire for sensory things, are all given up. Because of that sensory life, andham tamaha prapanna. My mind is in darkness, and in that darkness I have seen a splendorous sun. A splendorous light I have seen, that is you. You are my Guru. You have to remove my delusion, my ignorance. I am doing Sharanagati. Without doing Sharanagati, no Upadesha is possible. So here the disciple is doing prapatti, tam tvagataham sharanam sharanyam. The disciple is calling the Guru. Many names can be called. But here the disciple has given a name to Guru. He is called as Kutara. Kutara means axe. You are an axe. And what does that axe do? It cuts the samsara vriksha. This huge tree of misery, this huge tree of suffering, which we call as samsara, this ignorant life, at the root of that tree, this axe falls. Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. So you are my Kutaram. I cannot do that. I need you. You have to do the surgery and bring me out of this samsara. Jijñāsayāham prakritehe purushasya namami saddharma vidam varishtham. When mother surrendered like this, Bhagavan smiled, gave out a very beautiful smile. Ishat smita shobhita ananaha. His face glowed with radiance and with a smile, and said, Mother, here I will give you the highest teaching. That is Kapila's Upadesha. Here I will give you the highest teaching. All the sorrow, all the misery that we are undergoing is due to ignorance. Due to ignorance, the ego arises, and due to ego, all other thoughts come, and due to all the thoughts, the mind expands and constantly goes on thinking, and this thinking mind gets attached to things, objects, individuals, emotions, ideals, many things. And then you cannot take the mind back. The mind remains in a vikshipta avastha, scattered state. Matiriha gunasakta bandhakritteshu asakta tu amritakritu barundhe bhakti yogastu saktim mahadanugamalabhyam bhaktirevatra sadhyam Kapila tanurititvam devahutyai nyagadihi. Narayaniyam. Narayana Bhattadari says, Guruvayurappa, O Lord, in that Kapila's form, you taught your mother this. When the mind is attached to the objects, it creates bondage. When the mind is attached to saints, when it is attached to Bhagavan's name or form or to the inner self, then it releases us from all bondage. True bhakti has to be stamped by saints. We will say our own emotion as bhakti, but the authority should come from saints. An authentic master should tell you what is bhakti. Tyagaraja Swami, in one of his songs, he says, O Rama, I still do not understand what is real bhakti. Such a great saint, Tyagaraja says, I am still confused about the nature of bhakti. I don't know what is real bhakti. Teliyaledu Rama Bhakti Margamendu. I am still unaware of the Bhakti Marga. The real bhakti has to come from Bhagavan. Bhagavan has to give us that bhakti. When the mind is attached to worldly things, it creates bondage. Chetaha khalu asya bandhaya. Muktaye cha atmano matam. When Atma Jnana comes, it releases us from bondage. Mind is the cause. Bandha is in mind, moksha is also in mind. Clouds, they come and cover the sun. Who brought the clouds there? Wind. And the cloud moves away. Who took the clouds away? Wind. Vayuna Aniyate meghaha. Punaha tenaiva niyate. Manasa kalpyate bandhaha. Mokshas tenaiva kalpyate. Mind creates bondage, mind removes bondage. When the mind becomes pakwa through satsanga, when it becomes mature, when it becomes pure, when it regenerates itself, when it gains dispassion, discrimination, will, renunciation, then it makes us free. So, Kapila's first teaching is somehow purify the mind. The surface mind, we see only the surface of the mind. Deep down in the unconscious, the subconscious remains untouched. That is called cheta, chittam. The surface thing is the manifested mind. Always it will not reveal what lies deep down. The unmanifest mind stores all the vasanas, all the samskaras, all of them must be cleansed. And that can be cleansed when it is just like in one place Kapila Bhagavan says, Nigirnam analo yatha. A marvelous example. Kapila says, suppose if you swallow fire, an ember you put in your mouth, what will happen? It will burn all the inner organs. And Bhagavan says, bhakti is like that. Or there is the gastric fire, the Vaishwanara Agni. It will also burn. When whatever goes inside, the food goes inside, the Vaishwanara Agni burns everything. Like that, bhakti is a fire. When the real bhakti comes, a hold on Bhagavan comes, then all that lies underneath, hidden, everything will be burnt and you will be utterly purified, completely purified. So satsanga is necessary to remove the ahankara, mamata, aham mama abhimanottaihi, kama lobhadibir malaihi, vitam yada manashuddham, adukkam asukam samam. This is all a science which Kapila is teaching here, a shastra. The main mala in mind is ahankara, I. And the next is mine. One sannyasi, two monks were living in a forest. One day, the younger monk went to take bhiksha in a village. And when he went there, he saw two householders terrifically fighting. And generally the fight is about the fence in between. One person says, you have put a little bit this side. And he says, you have put little bit that side. A little space, for that both of them were standing there with a knife, screaming, fighting. This Swami looked, but he has been brought up in the forest by his guru. So he has never met all these worldly people and their problems. So he could not even understand what is happening. So he went back to his guru. What happened? No bhiksha? No bhiksha. I found a strange thing. Two family people were fighting. I could not understand why they were fighting. They said something about a fence and something about my land, your land. I don't understand what it means. He has understood all Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, but he could not understand this fight about land problem. So he asked, what is happening? Then that guru said, oh, you want to understand that. So he had a kamandala. Guru had a kamandala and the Shishya also had a kamandala. So Guru said, took the Shishya's kamandala and said, this is also my kamandala. And the Shishya said, why? I know it is all yours, you take. He said. Then the Guru said, now I see I cannot teach you why they fight. Because they do not know like you to say take, to give up. They have not learned this lesson of giving. That is why they are fighting. So mama, mamata, mine, this is the problem. And the root is ahanta, I. One person asked Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan, how to inquire who am I? When I try to inquire, I am not able to catch hold of the I. And Maharshi did not reply. This person is a servant in ashram. He went to his work in kitchen and picked up a fight with another person in kitchen. Both were fighting. And the elderly person said, "Whom do you fighting with? You know who I am?" The second person said, I am also not a easy person to handle. I will show you who I am. And suddenly they saw Ramana Bhagavan standing there. Maharshi was standing like this, with his finger on his nose. And they suddenly blushed. Bhagavan said, "This is the time when you have to ask, who am I? Because now the I has come out. Otherwise the I will be hiding, you cannot catch hold of it. Now you need not reveal it to him, and neither he reveal it to you. You hold on to it, catch hold of it, go within." So this is ahankara. This ahankara we have accepted as our real personality. We have never questioned. When you stay with a master, his first job is to make you see that you are not the ego. Without satsanga, without such a presence, it is not possible. So much identity is there with that personality. A little disturbance on our personality, we get irritated, affected, whole system becomes unsettled. When you stay with some Mahatmas, they have only one job, day and night they will burn your ego. You need not do any self-enquiry, you just stay with them. They will just see to it that this inner laser surgery is done. The I, the ahankara is burnt. That is why we say we have to surrender, and when they burn it, we should be able to accept it. Aham mama abhimanottaihi, from ahankara and mamata, kama, lobha, everything comes. Desire, greed, jealousy, everything comes from that. When all that is removed, when the mind is cleansed pure, when the mind becomes pure, purity of mind means the anubhuti, atmanubhuti becomes palpable. You are able to feel the presence of the divine within. The mind must be purified. All the sadhanas are only for that. Tada purusha atmanam kevalam prakritehe param nirantaram swayam jyotihi animanam akhanditam. Then Kapila Vasudeva said, Mother, you have the contact with sadhus. How to know sadhus? Bhagavan said, you can know them by their presence. When you go near them, you will have a shanti, an ananda. Their samadhi experience will waft around them. Another lakshana is they will be constantly speaking about God, constantly in that divine plane. When you see such Mahapurushas, stay with them, absorb their presence, have their satsanga. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayanaha kathaha. Hritkarna rasayanaha. Rasayana means an Ayurvedic tonic. This Triphala is a rasayana, but you take it through the mouth. But this Bhagavat Katha is a rasayanam which you have to take through the ears. And it enters the heart. It nourishes the heart. There bhakti flourishes. So, hritkarna rasayanaha kathaha tad joshanad ashu apavargavartmani shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishyati. Then you will be able to hold on to the mind, make it more and more meditative. Saying this, Kapila Bhagavan said, he started describing about Sankhya Tattva, Prakriti Purusha Vivechana, and then elaborately he spoke about meditation on the form of Bhagavan, Sabija Samadhi. to meditate on the form of Bhagavan, Bhagavat Katha Dhyana, Bhagavan Nama Dhyana, everything was said. Then he said, Prasannavadanam bhojam Padmagarbharunekshanam Neelotpaladalashyamam Shankachakra Gadadharam. In what form should I meditate? Kapila describes the form, beautiful form of Vishnu. I am not going to describe that. I will just chant the verses. Lasat Pangaja Kinjal Kapita Kausheya Vasasam Shri Vatsavakshasam Bhrajat Kaustubha Muktakandharam Mattadvire Pakalaya Paritam Vanamalaya Parardhyara Valaya Kiritangadanupuram Kanji Gunollasatsronim Hridayam Bhojavishtaram Darshaniyatamam Shantam Manonayana Vardhanam Apichya Darshanam Shashvat Sarvalokanamaskrtam Santam Vayasi Kaishore Brityanugraha Kataram. When you meditate on a divine form, Kapila Bhagavan gives us a suggestion that the form that you meditate should be just overflowing with compassion. You are not simply meditating on the form of Bhagavan, you are meditating on the compassion solidified there. So you meditate on that Karuna, Dhyaye Devam Samagrangam Yavannachyavate Manaha Sthitam Vrajantamāsīnam Shayanam Va Guhashayam. Whenever you walk, whenever you work, whenever you do any activity in the heart, you should carry this meditative poise, this meditative mood. Keep that bhava in your hridayam and always have a gaze within, looking at the divine form or the mantra which you are chanting. Sanchintayet Bhagavata Sharanaravindam. Constantly meditate on the Charanaravindam, the feet of Bhagavan. Thus described elaborately about that meditation on form. And at last, Kapila Bhagavan said, this form of God is like a bait. Chitta Badisha. It is given inside so that that Mahamatsya of Samadhi can enter you. That Nirvikalpa Anubhuti can enter you. The more and more you meditate, slowly the mind will give up all other hold, all other vasanas, all other desires. And at last, this form also will melt and evaporate inside, revealing that supremely placid, tranquil state of infinite Chidakasha. Muktashrayam yarhi nirvishayam viraktam nirvanam richati manaha sahasa yatharchihi atmanamatra purusho avyavadhanamekam anvikshade pratinivritta gunapravaha. Atmanam atra avyavadhanam anvikshate. Vyavadhana means obstacle. Without any obstacle, without any veil, avarana, that yogi experiences the Atman. The yogi experiences the Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupa, that pure Bodha Swarupa, that pure consciousness he experiences inside him, and the mind gets established in that experience. After that, his life is as a life of a Jivan Mukta. And Kapila Bhagavan gives a very funny example of a drunkard, one who goes in that inundation of some inebriating drink. When he walks, sometimes he will go to work with all dhoti, but when he comes, nothing will be there. The dress would have fallen somewhere, he will be coming naked or only with a underwear, because he is full, he is not aware. And Kapila Bhagavan says the Jivan Mukta is like that. He is not aware whether the body is there or not, whether the body is following him or not. Deham janashwaram avasthitam Uthitam va siddho na pashyati yato adhyagamat swarupam deham chatam na charamassthitam uthitam va siddho na pashyati yato adhyagamat swarupam. He has adhyagamat swarupam. He has attained that swarupa anubhuti, and he is convinced that in his swarupam there is neither body nor mind nor ego. He has seen the atyanta bhava of upadhi in his real nature. Deham cha tam na charamaha sthitam uthitam va siddho vipashyati yato dhyagamat swarupam daivadupetam uta daivavashadapetam vaso yatha parikritam madira madandha. Madira is wine. And madandha means he is inundated, he is inebriated. In that state he is not aware whether the body remains or whether falls off. In that state, his world is gone. Saprapancham adhirudha samadhi yoga. He is in that adhirudha samadhi. In that state, the prapancha consciousness is not there, body is not there, world is not there, everything is gone. He is established in that nirvikalpa sthiti. This is the highest point of a yogi. To attain this, everyone has to strive. And we have to do bhakti. Kapila Bhagavan speaks about many type of bhakti. And he says, the best bhakti is worship, which Shivanandaji Maharaj, Swami Chidanandaji's life is a demonstration of that bhakti. Where Kapila Bhagavan says, every body is a temple, and in that temple I am there as Bhutatma. Athamam sarva bhuteshu bhutatmanam kritalayam arhayet dana manabhyam maitriya abhinnena chakshusha. When we do service to others, it should be with this bhava. We are not helping them, we are not serving them, we are doing worship, we are doing puja. In every body, Bhagavan has inhabiting as the Bhutatma, as the Antaryami. Krita alayam, that body is an alayam, it is a temple. Arhayet, Bhagavan says worship. And how should I worship? You want to worship another person, take some Ganga Jalam and put it in his head. Cold Ganga water, he will run away from you. And worship is when he comes to you with hunger, giving food to him is worship. When he wants cloth, giving cloth is worship. When he wants some help, helping him is worship. When he comes only expecting a respect, just doing a namaskara is worship. So here says Maitriya Abhinnena Chakshusha. Arhayet Dana Manabhyam. Either Dana, charity, or Mana, just respect. Maitri, friendship. Abhinnena Chakshusha, that is the undercurrent. There is no bheda between you and me. We are all same, we are all one. There is no difference at all. This abhinna bhava is like a thread that is underneath the whole bhakti. So that we no better example can be given for this bhakti than Shivanandaji Maharaj. His entire life, everything, the way he behaved from the very beginning of his sannyasa life, he was only serving. And he was not doing social service. That was Sarva Bhutatma Bhava. Sarvatma Bhava. Worshipping in every form Bhagavan. Swamiji has said that Bhagavan came to me in many forms. In the form of a person with disease, with a leper. In many forms he came, I served him, and that is my worship to him. And in all forms he worshipped Hari. So this Kapila Bhagavan says, through that kind of bhakti, I will be happy. But if you insult me, inhabiting many bodies, and do big puja with so much money, so much wealth, I will not be happy. You are only insulting me by such puja. So such statements are given by Kapila Bhagavan in Bhagavata. And so the real bhakti is to see Bhagavan in every sharira and worship him. And Kapila Bhagavan continues, he says, from the Garbhapatra itself, this jiva wants to attain God realization. All of us in our mother's womb, we have had a samadhi experience, a seen a vision of the Lord. Then we have prayed, Bhagavan, if I come out of this womb, I will worship you, do sadhana and attain. But the moment we come and touch the bhumi, the earth, we forget all those promises. Again fall back to samsara, maya. So here, Kapila Bhagavan pictures that in the Garbha Gata Jantu, there we had no name. Inside that Garbhapatra, no name. What is it? They call it a fetus. Kapila Bhagavan calls it as a creature, a Jantu. And we were all that Jantu. And later on that Jantu comes out. And then Jantu gets some name. This, that, some name, an Aadhaar card, identity card. And at last, that Jantu dies and becomes again a Jantu. That Jantu goes away. So here Kapila Bhagavan says, we were all Jantus, only a dot inside that Garbhapatra. It grows and becomes a body with, that is a mystery. That is Maya. And comes out, and we are all sitting now here like this. Suppose if someone brings a photo of a small dot and shows you, identify who is this? I don't know. It is your first photo. Taken inside the, clinically taken. With so much perfection it is taken. You are only a small dot there. Kalalam tu ekaratrena, pancharatrena budbudam. Then next photo, you are a bubble. Then next photo, you are like a small fruit. No head, no leg, no hand, no eyes, no nose. Who is this? What is this? This Mamsa Pindam. This is the so-called Mr. And then comes everything. Even as a child when you were born, then also now if they show you that photo, you will not identify. So this identity with body is apramanika. It is not authentic. And when you, if you fail to realize yourself, great sorrow is awaiting. So we have to understand that our only purpose in life is to know that I am not the body, I am the self, and to see the same divine everywhere in every body, and to have that samabuddhi everywhere, to have that shanta bhava, that love, that bhakti, sarvatma bhava, which Kapila Bhagavan teaches Devahuti. And receiving that teaching, Devahuti merged in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, in Yoga Sthiti, and dropped her body in that state. Remaining as a yogini, she dropped her body, and Kapila also went away from that place with the Siddhas. And the story goes, even now he is there in the Siddha Loka, available. If you want, you can see Kapila. If you are mature enough to receive his vision, he will come before you. So that is the story of Kapila Vasudeva. He was Jnana Kala. He was born as the Jnana Kala of Narayana. And tomorrow evening we will continue the session. The fourth skanda we will just touch. And the fifth skanda, Rishabha Charitra, Jada Bharata Charitra, is all there. And then the 6th skanda we will touch. There's some Ajamilopakyana and some other stories are there. We don't know up to which part Gurudev will take us. Up to that portion we will go. Sarvatra Govindanama Sankirtanam Janaki Kanta Smaranam Jai Jai Rama Ram Hara Namah Parvati Padaye Hara Hara Mahadev.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. 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 Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai.
There will be Parayana of Srimad Bhagavata Dasamaskanda by Brahma Sri